but I'm gonna go share it really quick.
Hello, everybody. This isn't really shared yet, so I'm talking to the ether, and I guess you too.
Ether.
You can marinate how fun of a. Oh, there we are. You can marinate how fun of a word ether is while we share it.
This is a fun word to say. Say it with me.
Ether.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm excited to talk about this. I saw so many differing opinions about the show. So
I
it
have
could be
lots of
great.
opinions.
We love that about
Did you see that thing I tagged you in on Facebook? It showed another version of what's her face? Howard the Duck's daughter.
Birdie.
Yeah, Birdie.
Put some respect on her name.
It showed
For anybody just tuning in, if that's the first thing you heard, I'm sorry. I'm very interested.
They had a version of her where she looked more like Howard. There we go.
No, I didn't see. I haven't been getting like half of my notifications.
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
it was one of the blowbacks of the different realities.
Oh no,
like
I didn't.
when he's erasing every version of them, and there's different versions that kind of come behind them. One of them is like
a Howard the Duck Birdie.
Birdie Howard the Duck.
No, I didn't.
What if Birdie was more bird than human? I think is the idea.
I think that would have been way cooler, to be honest with you.
No, it's not.
It would be. It's so what if? Like, imagine. Oh, she just had a
Howard
little duck
was
brother.
Just named Birdie.
God, that when it gets down to it, it's like, is that bestiality? Are we all like okaying that?
It is. I think it's more, since Howard's not really a duck, I think it's more interspecies.
So we have
So we're starting the live like this. Hello, everybody. Let's talk about interspecies intercourse.
At the beginning of work every morning, we have a question of the day. And I put in a question of, if you could understand animals, would you still eat them?
No.
And it was a huge debate.
Absolutely.
I don't think I'd be able to. No. I mean, I already am on the lighter end of meat eating.
You try not to. When you
I usually, if there's a non-meat option, I will typically choose that. So if there's a good alternative, I wouldn't miss meat, but it's also just way more convenient most of the time. But if they could talk to me and I knew that they had feelings and they said, no, please don't eat me, I'd probably eat me.
Oh, but imagine if they had little attitudes and they were just rude. Like, I would eat Howard the Duck. I would 100%. But I wouldn't eat Rocket Raccoon.
Which one has done more crime? Which one deserves it more?
I'm good for the crime.
Is if we ate carnivores, they would probably understand. But all the meats we eat are vegetarians, like cows, chickens.
Oh.
Well, pigs eat everything, but
guess I'm a pig.
Okay,
so we don't eat carnivores normally.
I don't know what animals eat. I just eat some of them, which this conversation started off so sad.
I've eaten dog before.
Oh, that's interesting. Is there a story there?
I lived in South Korea and I didn't know it was dog, and my parents made me try it. It's not that, it's almost perfumey. It's very kind of. It's interesting. I'd prefer chicken.
Why do you know?
I was asking, like, is it gamey?
He's always had suspicion.
You don't have to sound so excited about it. Tell me about the taste. I need to know. I don't want to know.
Hi,
Anywho,
Evelyn.
so what if?
Hi, Evelyn. Thank you for stopping by. We love you. So what if?
So what if? The thing we're here to talk about, for the most part.
Yeah, that was an interesting season, I will say. I don't think it was their strongest, so I'm kind of bummed that's how they ended the show.
Yeah.
I would say most of it was probably their weakest. I think season 1, they had the most clear concept and they stuck through with it. I know that some people were wanting this to be solely an anthology series, and some people liked the Captain Carter thread through. And I think that season 1 did the balance of that the best. And then I feel like the rest was okay. We have like 3 more episodes of thread through content, and then the other ones will just be purely anthology. And then I think that they lost their formula for it a little bit as the episodes went on. I will say I liked this show. I'm glad that we got this show, and I like that there are more Marvel projects that aren't 100% MCU, Earth 616, or whichever person you're going to believe. Iman Vellani says 616. Feige says like 199999.
I don't believe Feige.
But I never believe Feige.
Never.
Most of his job is hiding the truth from the public. So I never believe him. Iman would never do me wrong. I love her.
True.
I do like how each season we got like a new original character.
I did enjoy that. I think Captain Carter, despite Megan's revolt, I think Captain Carter, Kahorti, and Birdie were all 3 good original characters. And had they been introduced in MCU Prime originally, I don't think that they would have been as popular, or at least I don't think so. I do think that each character got better as time went on. So Captain Carter, like 3rd rank, if you can see my hand, which hand am I talking with? Captain Carter, and then 2nd place Kahorti, which I would just like to see more of Kahorti and Birdie. I feel like I've gotten my fill of Captain Carter. But if we're going to bring in Kahorti and Birdie into multiple episodes and make it part of the through line, I would be really interested in exploring both of those. Whether they make something that's not MCU canon, like a Kahorti show, that would be interesting. They would have to really get creative in how to do that and how to market that to a more mass audience. But I think that in general, all 3 of those characters had a good, what word am I looking for?
Depth.
I was gonna reception. Good reception from the audience. And I think that as time went on, I think Captain Carter is like at the end of that. I think that everybody's kind of ready to move on from her, which if they bring her back in a meaningful way, in a cool way, I'm all for it because I love Haley Atwell.
I mean, we've gotten the most of her. We've gotten her in What If. We've gotten a comic book run for her. We've gotten a live action. So, I mean, it makes sense that we're done with her.
Yeah. But it's also the sad part about having original characters that have very little screen time in What If, because then you see them and then they're gone. So, I mean, Kahorti got a comic book. Maybe Birdie will be shoehorned in there. I don't see her getting her own. Unless it's like one of those Marvel. I could see it being like a Marvel Unlimited exclusive because they have a lot of
or a one-off
lower tier comics on that.
Yeah,
or a one-off.
I could see a one-off. Or like a little mini run.
Yeah, just to introduce her, because not everyone watches What If, and if you want to use her somewhere else in the comics, it's what they did with Kahorti, and I feel like she would fit in really well with the new TVA run.
Yes.
I think that right now that's the only place that either of them could be. I don't think the main comic book audience right now is really looking for that type of material. But in TVA so far, those type of characters are being used pretty well. My only worry is like I want to see the numbers of how good the Kahorti issue sold, because I'm super interested in it and I will buy anything with either of their faces on it. But I do wonder how well it's gone over with the comic reading audience, because the MCU audience and the comic audience aren't necessarily always the same thing, especially in the same numbers. So I don't know. I don't see either being huge with the comic audience, unfortunately, which makes me sad. So put them in more animation, do something with them.
From what I've heard, the Kahorti comic did really well because no one really knew what to expect, and it was an origin. You know, people love origins. I love origins. But the characters that she showed up into their universes, like Daredevil, Echo, in the comic, they worked really well together. So I could see them working again. I don't see her getting her own comic run anytime soon, but I do see her kind of just slipping into someone else's like they do in the comics. It's what they do.
Yeah.
They should do that before giving her own run. I think they should do the same with Birdie too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm totally for it, unless they do, like I said, for a Birdie comic, I could 100% see them doing some side writer that doesn't really do a lot of the main titles, doing a Marvel Unlimited comic, because there's a lot of Marvel Unlimited comics that are way lower tier, lower lower art, and lower stakes, I guess, and lower popularity. So
Like the
I
What If
mean, House of
comics.
Harkness has like
Mhm.
16 issues out now, and I haven't kept up with it as much as I should have. And I am the prime audience for that. So that tells you kind of the Marvel Unlimited jam. It's read it or don't, it doesn't matter. But I would love to see what somebody could do with it, because I think both characters are so good and they have potential. And Marvel's best thing lately has been to flub on the potential of a character. So I would love to see more of them and see them fully realized, or at least explore a little bit and see where they can go with it.
Well, I think that's the blessing and the curse of Marvel Unlimited. It's always there. So you're like, I don't have to read it as soon as it comes out. It'll be there.
Mhm.
And then it's like one thing leads to
Mhm.
another, and like a month later, you're like, I should probably read that now. Because like
Yeah.
Well,
you saw the spoilers, you saw what people had to say when it came
Mhm.
out into stores. Not everyone has a comic store near them. I don't. My nearest one's like an hour away. So
That's the way I used to be when I lived in my small town.
say we have a couple like 15 minutes away from us. That's the only way that we have comics in the store currently. Um, but shout out if anybody wants some Spectrum comics. Free plug. I'm in front of an audience, so I'll use it.
might as well.
But might as well. But I think that's my biggest problem with Marvel Unlimited is ever since subscribing to it, I feel like I've read a lot less of the current comics and I've been doing more of a backlog. Like when I got Marvel Unlimited, I obsessively went through old Scarlet Witch, like years and years of Runaways comics, all of the Young Avengers. And so it's really easy with Marvel Unlimited to kind of pick one story and hyper focus on it. And as to where if you have a comic stack, you see everything that you're supposed to like, everything that you had in mind, and it doesn't, if it's sitting on the table, it's still in mind. But with Marvel Unlimited, it's really easy to go out of sight, out of mind. And that's my issue with ADHD. It
Mm.
as soon as the comic, like I'll not read it that week and then I'll forget about it. And like 8 months later, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's probably on Marvel Unlimited now, because it
Or
takes what, 3-4 months.
Yeah.
or if you read Comixology, and since Amazon
Rest in
took it
peace.
over, it's
R.I.P.
Yeah, my digital
Impossible.
comic reading got significantly worse as soon as Comixology went to Amazon.
Yeah.
And I think that that's another one of my big issues, because I loved Comixology and the organization was perfect. All of it was perfect except for how to buy the comic books themselves.
Mhm.
And
And then they took
it's
all
even
the
worse now.
Yeah.
Amazon owning Comixology is like the worst thing that
they
could
took
happen
all
for
they
digital
took
comic
away
readers.
all the good things of Comixology, and you still have a hard time buying the comic books.
Yeah, because you have to go through like the Kindle store to do everything, and it's
Yeah.
so hard to find anything, and like you have to find it on what's the app called again?
The Kindle app.
Yeah, sure.
Just
You have to find it on it and then heart it and then go to your Amazon actual account
Web
and then buy it,
browser.
and then it has like it's awful. It's a mess.
so what if
Yeah,
So
we're
what
getting,
if?
we're getting a little off topic.
we did it
Only
again.
slightly though, because we
We
got
always
there
do
from
it.
talking about what if characters in comic book. It was relevant, and it's a
Dude,
live
Should
stream.
we-
yesterday
should
we
we-
were so worse. We talked about Sonic 3 spoilers somehow.
Yeah.
Like
Listen, I love Sonic. I've been
we
playing
all
that so much
we all
lately.
need to be
Well, we-
medicated. Like we're
We
so
also
ADHD.
forgot to do our ratings for the last episode. So do we want to do that real quick before we forget?
Yes.
again?
We forgot.
Yes. Let me pick
In true fashion.
uh,
Whenever Megan
Look-
is ready,
Yeah.
because I don't remember. any of
Megan,
my
whenever
scores.
you're ready, just give your score first, and then I'll go and.
I have
That's
them all
not how it
written
works.
down. So let's see. For the last episode, it was a good episode in itself, but I don't think it was a good finishing episode. So I'd say a
Mhm.
6.
6.
Oof.
Yeah, because it's like that was the last episode. Like you
Yeah.
could have given me more. You didn't use any other characters. You showed us variants that we didn't even get to see. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, that felt more like a tease than anything.
Yeah.
Plot twist. What if just in a new show? It's not a season 4. It's just a whole new show.
They should have done a thing kind of like at Endgame where they all come through portals. We should have got like every variant you could imagine
Yeah,
just
but that's
coming
just
through a
been
portal.
done to death.
Because we like it,
And then we could get on.
Lane.
Yeah,
I mean,
variants.
I agree. I think that would have been a little bit more rewarding. We saw all of these Elseworld stories.
Mhm.
Now they're coming together. That is one thing that I guess, am I rating the episode or the season is where
The
episode.
Well, yeah. I mean, talking about the episode itself is what my hardship is, because the episode itself I thought was great. I don't think that it was a perfect conclusion to the show is my issue. And so if we had an episode after that, how would I rate it? And so I don't know. I think I really liked the episode. I don't think it was perfect. I think it was an okay ending to What If. Besides showing all of them in portals, I am not creative enough to know what other payoff you could have given other than including more of the season 3 people.
Just more What If people.
Yeah. I
more
liked a lot of
versions.
the decisions that they made. I wish that we got to see more of it. So I am actually going to rate it a lot higher. I'm going to say like 8.6.
If Birdie wasn't in that episode, how much lower would it have been?
6.6.
But
But that's my thing. I enjoyed those characters so much, and I don't have a vendetta against Captain Carter, so I enjoyed it more. But
that's fair.
I did enjoy the time with the characters, and again, that was our complaint from episode 1. And who knows how to balance like a 20-minute episode. If we included more characters, would we have gotten less of the characters that we are asking for more of already? So would we have gotten less Storm? Would we have gotten less Birdie? Would we have gotten less Cohorty? And that's why I'm content in how it ended, because I think anything else would have taken away from that. Had the stills of their multiversal selves when they went behind them been a little bit more clear and slowed down, I think that would have been cool. Even if it like paused and then went, paused, went, that would have been like things like that. I would have definitely done, because most of them you can't even see in the show. So why include them?
Or
the only
if they
reason
came through a portal.
No, not. I actually like exactly what they did. I liked their multiversal selves being funneled through them. I thought that the visual was different.
We couldn't even see their multiversal selves. We don't even know if that was that. What if it wasn't? What if it was just? What if
that is my complaint? Like, because even screen grabs of those, they're really hard to see more than 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And so some way to be able to see more of them and see more of the what if and more of the multiverse, I think that is probably one of the only things from the finale that I would change. Because I mean, if you're going to do this finale, you got to have the setup. And while I think the penultimate episode was better than this one, I think that with what we got prior to it, this episode did close to the best job that it could. I really liked it. I think it's very much a penultimate episode was Infinity War, and this one was a little bit short of Endgame. So you needed the setup for the finale, I guess. So I'm okay with what we got. I like the setup better than the finale, but
you know what Endgame have? You know what Endgame had? Portals.
You know what else has portals? The end of Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go. It doesn't mean that we needed it.
We didn't need it in that, but this one would have made sense.
This one, some way, as long as they made it look different, because what is Dark Strange's name?
Strange Supreme.
Yeah, Strange Supreme. I think that since he's like a universe in himself, I think that they could have had a cool visual. I think that the last episode did have a lot of cool visuals. And so maybe it was a constraint of, do we get these ones or those ones? That's my issue. I think that the last episode needed to be longer. And that was just not something that they had the order for.
Can I vote now?
You already did, didn't you?
No.
Oh, 8.6, I think I said.
Waiting.
You can go. I'll allow it.
7.
7.
7.
Okay.
A lot of it could be improved quite a bit, but it's still a decent episode, so 7.
I realize my flaw. You repeated her score, and I thought that you were saying that your score was the same.
No.
No,
That's
mine
why I
was
thought you already went. That's why I was trying to go on and keep conversation going. My bad, a 7. Explain why. I'll
I
get
just
some dog
did.
hair off of you.
You didn't listen.
I did listen.
I thought it could use a lot of improvement, but it was still a decent episode.
Like how most people's favorite Avengers movie is Infinity War rather than Endgame. Endgame is more of the roll back downhill.
So something
Anthony says
interesting.
very generous ratings. Hi, Anthony.
Very generous.
You didn't hear
rating.
Megan's, maybe.
Anthony knows me. He knows it's going to be a low one. God bless him.
Well, I also
So
think that my expectations for What If are just way lower. And maybe that's why I just enjoy it, because I just enjoy it for the most part for what it is. If I don't necessarily like an episode that much, I'm like, yeah, okay, on to the next one. And I think that's what the anthology part of it should be. But a lot of people didn't like the through line, and that's why a lot of people didn't like the last 2 episodes.
see, I could
And it
say
had Captain Carter in it, so Megan didn't like it.
that beach. See, I could say like, oh, I didn't like that episode. On to the next one, but it's like they were all connected, which is like, come on now, get it together. But something interesting to point out, I have all of our ratings, mostly LJ and mine, because when was
You
dying of
were
COVID,
dead.
and we're happy you're back. Very happy.
We both were, but I toughed it out. It's fine.
So for all of us, the highest one was the second to last episode, the highest rating with LJ's being 9, Wen being 8.5, and mine being 9.1. It's interesting.
I mean, I would 100%, looking back at it, I would agree that that's still the best episode of the season. Maybe one of the best of the series, but that's a strong question mark because I would have to look back.
Yeah, I'd have to watch. I'd have to go through and binge it all again for me to really.
I have
remember.
all of the episodes pulled up, and we can look at what our favorites of the series were. I was prepared. But I do like it. I think my favorite part of What If, ironically, was the through line and not the anthology part of it. And so I personally think that I would have preferred one series of just a different universe, or where they universe hop. Like I would have liked to follow the 4, so Peggy, Storm, Cohorty, and Birdie, because it clearly they had adventures, and I feel like I got
So you
left
want
out.
something kind of like Quantum Leap?
I don't know what that is, but sure. I'm assuming I'm about to get some very reactions in the comments.
so.
But yeah, I want that team going through the multiverse, and that being the through line of here's what happened in all these multiverses. Like I think my biggest issue was that they had a concept, but they didn't follow through. They didn't know if they wanted it to be an anthology or if they wanted a thread to go through, and it was just really inconsistent. And I think that that's what most people's issue is that the show itself wasn't consistent to its mission statement.
I agree with Anthony.
I didn't read. Hold on.
Latest comment.
I can't read.
It's not that it. Go ahead, Megan. You're better.
I'm such a good reader, obviously. It's not that I didn't like the episodes, but the ending where it shows all the other what if scenarios just seemed way cooler than what we got, and it kind of bums me out. Bam, he's right. 100%.
I agree. I think that most of the what ifs that were behind them, like when they were being sucked out of the multiverse, I think that a lot of those were cooler than the what ifs that we did get. Megan, grow up. You're an adult lady.
You laughed too. I laughed because you went.
But Storm as Black Panther would have been so friggin' cool.
I would have liked that.
Yeah.
I would
have liked it better than Storm as Thor, I think. She's already got the thunder. What else?
100%.
Let's make her Black Panther.
I think a good way to do What If would have also been
Quantum Leap.
Yeah, kind of. But now that I'm thinking about it, so the premise of Quantum Leap is he goes through different dimensions. I'm pretty sure that's the one I'm thinking of. But he goes through different
just like when you dream.
And he changes something, or he'll go back in time and change something. And we already have like dream walking in the MCU. So what if we just had a set characters that we always followed, like Peggy and them, but instead they went into the bodies of whatever universe they were in?
Buzz me in. Either that, Okay. Either that, or I would really like, because we know that like the only person that doesn't have anybody to dreamwalk into is America Chavez.
True.
So what if that was a plot to a Young Avengers show where America Chavez is like
Just give
dimension
America
hopping?
Chavez her own.
Oh, the
TV
internet would
series
absolutely
and
murder
have
that.
her do that.
I would love that. I love her, and Xochitl Gomez is such a light.
It would
Like
also make sense
anytime she
could,
talks, she's just like the sun.
she could. That would also make sense as a show though, because she could be looking for her parents now that she can control her portaling.
And I'm all for it. I would like to explore. I think that's. I would hate to say I would like to explore the multiverse when we're in the multiverse saga, but I feel like we still haven't explored it how we should have. Or,
well, that's why everybody's over it, because it just wasn't done as well as it should have been.
like, I would love to see America Chavez going portal hopping to try to find her moms. The internet would also love to hate it, which, you know what, whatever.
I'm not a huge fan of, what are they called, divergence or other versions of
Variants.
Variants. I don't like when variants don't look like them. Like, I want Doctor Strange to look like Doctor Strange, even if he's a variant. Change stuff about him, that's fine.
But then you can't make a lot of money with No Way
But
Home.
I want him to look like him.
Well, I think most of the time, I think that is the way. I think unless there is a business reason of let's get Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield back,
I
think
was a big money grab.
I think their big mantra is almost all of the variants look the same, except the ones that make Marvel more money to bring back. Or if we can't get an actor, or if that actor's been problematic.
Well, because my thing is like, what's in a name? Okay, so he looks completely different and he's from another universe, so he has a different ability. So is that even like Doctor Strange at that point?
What if he has the same ability?
Like,
it's the face that's
if
different?
he looks different and
What
then he
if-
has like Hulk's abilities, is that even Doctor Strange at that point?
Well, I think there's some characteristics they have. Like, they could have like the same named parents. They could have the kind of same upbringing. Certain things have happened to them, makes them the same. I think it's fine to have some that look like you and some that don't. Like Loki, some looked like exactly like him, and some were alligators. You know, like, I think it's cool to have both.
I will also. I love Sophia DiMartino as Sylvie,
Yeah.
so I will never complain about that.
I don't mind
I do
Sylvie, though,
agree
'cause
with
it's
you. I
gender
think
bent.
it highly depends on the setup and reason. I think in general, if you're just showing a bunch of variants, most of them looking like that actor would probably be for the best, unless it's like a throwaway haha.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
Deadpool, the Deadpool corpse, like, some look like him, some don't, some are babies, you know, like.
Yeah, and it depends on the setup. In that context, it worked really well. They were all in Deadpool outfits. You could clearly tell that they were Deadpools that had similar stories. But going back to the premise of What If, I do think What If works best as a question. What if this happened differently? One little change that had an impact, and just see how one little change can make a completely different outcome. And I think that that's where What If was strongest, is when they did that.
I think What If missed a lot of opportunities. Like, Sylvie would have been an excellent character for What If. America Chavez would have been an excellent character. I agree with Anthony. He says, I feel like Spider-Man does the variant thing the best. I agree with that.
They did
they're
do
all
it the best.
Yeah, they all are Spider-Man in some way, shape, or form, but they are so authentic to themselves that it makes them their own character, that each of them can carry on their own thing, except Spider-Ramen. That one kind of doesn't sit right with me. That one
I'd
was
say
weird.
a lot of the Spider people, I think that they're more fleshed out and more general audiences know them, and that's why it works better. I think the one-offs are a little hard for a lot of the audience to stomach, because they don't really. You got to think, not everybody has seen every MCU product, or not everybody reads Marvel comics.
Which is a shame.
I mean, ideally you should, but when you are
media,
when you are to the masses, you have to make something accessible to the masses. And I think that What If really struggled with that, because we brought in a lot of characters that they don't know the baseline, and they completely changed the scenario. So if you didn't watch Hawkeye or Shang-Chi, that one episode, you're like, okay, so these are these characters. There's no setup of here's Kate Bishop's life, but instead of picking up a bow and arrow, she did this instead. I just think through the seasons or as they went, it got more complex, and in the complexity, I think it lost its purpose or its mantra. We'll say not its purpose. Its purpose was to be a cool show, and for the most part, I think it delivered. It was a cool show. It wasn't the greatest, but it gave us some cool stuff.
What is your favorite episode out of all 3 seasons, Megan? Since you're not really a crazy fan of the
We
show.
might have to do per season for this. Since we have the time on a live, what was your favorite season 1, season 2, season 3?
We could. I'd say overall it was the Cohorty episode. That felt it kind of felt like What If, but like at the same time it felt very new, very fresh. We had not gotten a brand new character in Marvel in so long, especially one that started in the MCU and made her way to the comics. The representation was amazing. With how much work they put in to get into the culture and bring on people who are of that culture to make sure it's done respectfully is something that isn't talked about enough. So I'd say that one was.
I agree. I think I have two episodes that I think were the best. One that really stuck to the What If formula of what If should be, and one just because I really liked the episode and I liked the character. The first that I think did What If the best was Strange Supreme. That what if Doctor Strange lost his heart, and then we saw that one change spiral into a completely different scenario. I forgot to breathe. But I think that episode captured What If, the spirit of What If, and the reason of What If the best. Which sadly that was season 1. But I think my favorite episode that didn't stick to the What If formula was the Cohorty episode, and I don't think it really fit with What If until you just kind of brought her on to Peggy's team. I think it would have been better if we just got a Cohorty miniseries or special instead.
Should have been a special.
Instead of trying to make it What If, because if you stopped at the end of that episode and took out her joining Peggy, it wasn't What If.
I mean, honestly, I love I love that there's more representation, but I would actually rather have had a Cohorty mini show other than Echo.
I loved Echo, and I think that they kind of serve the same purpose.
I mean, they do, and that's why I said I like that there is multiple representation for this chunk of people. I prefer Cohorty.
I mean, it's mostly because her powers are just more fun to watch.
I honestly don't even think that's it, because I want her to have a more defined power. I actually just like with what Megan said, is it was a fresh new superhero with her own original origin. And you don't see that often in this media, in comic media in general. You very rarely get a new character and one that takes off and is good. It isn't just a variant.
One that's fleshed out in there.
Yeah.
I think
it isn't just a variant of another superhero, like a sidekick. Like, I love Miles Morales. He's actually tied with Peter Parker in a lot of ways for me.
We can talk about our favorite Spider person here in a moment.
But he is just another Spider-Man. And Gwen is another Spider-Woman. Like, I like that Cohorty is original.
Yeah, and I'll agree. I think... Oh, go ahead, Megan.
Oh, sorry. So I think the thing that kind of irritates me the most is that, like, with Cohorty, it should have been a special presentation. She should have gotten more. Because let's be honest, What If is not very much watched by the casual Marvel Studios watcher.
Well, and it would feel more extreme. Bigger.
Yeah, but I feel like with What If, they put her into What If because they're like, if no one likes it, or if we get backlash, or the go woke, go broke crowd don't like it, we can be like, it's What If, What If?
Well, and my thing is, her episode is season 2, episode 6. So if you didn't stay with it, you don't know who she is. I think that if we made it either a special presentation or
that's what
just like comics do, they do mini series with 4 issues all the time. Can we get more special presentation? We don't need everything to be a movie.
Yeah, I think that she would do well for just like a spotlight episode, kind of like Werewolf by Night.
And if
Just a
we
little
wanted to
short.
pull her into
Yeah,
a What If
special
episode,
presentation.
that would have been fine. You could have done the same thing, except make her. I would have made What If season 2, episode 6, a special presentation, and then I would have made a separate episode for Cohorty of here's what she's doing in the multiverse. I would not have made them one and the same. I'm grateful that they used What If to make this happen, because I don't think that would have ever gotten greenlit as a special presentation, especially for an all new character. They would much rather do something like Nova or literally anything else that already exists. I will fight and say, though, before we move on from topics, that I don't think Cohorty and Echo have to fight each other.
No, I don't think they do either.
I really liked the Echo show for what it was. It was a lower stakes, more chill. Here's a spotlight. I think Alaqua Cox did an amazing job. Her acting is great, being nonverbal for the most part. I think.
Yeah, I think what I'm meaning is if Marvel's going to focus,
if they have to pick one.
Yeah, and they sat on Echo forever. It was almost like they didn't want to release it. So if you're going to put that much, so if you're going to put that much effort, I mean, it was a whole show. It was a whole season. So if you're going to put that much effort and you want to spotlight that population, why not give the show to Cohorty and give Echo an episode of What If you're not that confident?
I believe Cohorty was announced when Echo was done filming, because you have to think Echo had been done filming a long time before they actually released it.
I just wish they were reversed.
They just happened to be.
We could why not both? Give us a special presentation of all new characters. Let us get to know them that way. Perfectly done.
And my favorite thing is that Echo is more than set up to go into the Daredevil corner of the MCU, because when talking about projects and which projects they should make, you have to also consider what corners of the MCU are we building. And I think the Daredevil corner of the MCU was more important to build, and that's why Echo got her special presentation. I don't think she necessarily needed it. I did like the rebranding of the character and kind of resetting what her powers are, which I still don't 100% understand, and I don't think she does either. The ancestral power, but I do think that it was a step toward Daredevil. I think it was. I mean, I kind of see She-Hulk that same way too. They're more step. Here's a corner of the MCU. Where's the corner of the screen? Here's a corner of the MCU. Let's flesh that out, just like we are doing the Mystic corner of the MCU now, with or without Wanda, which breaks my heart.
Megan, did you have something?
So, Edalyn says the Doctor Strange episode is one of her favorites.
I would 100% agree.
Yeah. Anthony says season 1 for me was Marvel Zombies because it really felt like the comics it was based on. True. Second was Cohorty. And the third, the Gundam suits. I knew he would like the mech suits. I knew it.
I agree with you on all of them except for season 3. It's Howard the Duck.
Listen, but here's what we said in the first episode. This will be somebody's passion, and I'm happy for them. Yeah. So I am happy for you.
I am.
It wasn't for me, but the fact that it resonated with you so much, that's why it was there, and that's why I like it.
I hope it does well. I hope it is the most favorite episode for everyone, so that way it'll show people at Netflix who now own the Power Rangers, hey, let's do an animated Power Rangers.
Let's get it.
Hi, Claude. I'm not a big Power Rangers person, but I'm happy for you. And Tom would also probably 100% agree with you. More Power Rangers content.
Hi, Claude. Thanks for joining us. Tell us your favorite episode of What If. It can be one per season or one overall. We want to know.
Yep.
Yes.
We want to know.
Oh, he was very, very fast. Riri's was my favorite in season 3. Yes.
I really liked that episode.
I did too.
It made me way more excited for Ironheart. I still don't know exactly what to expect for Ironheart, other than she's doing something with the hood.
Not that we know anything about the hood, because we were supposed to see the hood in this season.
It's Anthony Ramos.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying like we were supposed to see him in What If.
Yeah.
But they took that away.
I still think that it would be neat to get a Doom teaser in Riri's show. just because it's magic and tech.
I think we'll get it more.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that would be a good spot for it, even if it's just a small blink you miss it.
Just like a little.
I think Fantastic Four is 100% that project to tease. But no, I think that it breathed new life into Riri. I think that it brought her back into the conversation, and I thought that it did a really good job at it. I think it made me like her character more. I love Wakanda Forever. But I love her. I will take as much Dominique Thorne as I can get.
Well, with
overall, also Cohorty.
Yeah.
Totally. Cohorty. I like how that's
She's getting so much love. Why is she not
I
getting
love it.
Stuff?
I love it so much. It makes me so happy because I was so nervous when they first announced her. I was like, whenever I had to like make announcements in our group, the Nerd Haven, I had to do so much because everyone's like, oh, she just looks like Pocahontas. And I was like, that's low key racist, right? Like,
and so why even if
you know
she
nothing
did,
about her character.
I would love to see all the Disney princesses in the MCU with powers.
Yeah, plus they're not the same tribe or anything. You're just pushing them all into one box. But that's something.
I mean,
that's between you and God.
Was their style.
But going
seeing
back,
a poster with a white person on it and being like, "Oh, that's Malcolm in the Middle." Which
one quick thing though on your Echo, what is her power? I think it'd be cool if she could tap into a specialty skill whenever she wants of an ancestor.
Isn't that kind of what she does?
Kinda. She kind of talks to him. She kind of
her hands also glow.
Well, we were supposed to get so much more about her, but they removed that second to last episode that had all of that information on it.
Yeah.
It showed she had like these face paintings on her. It showed everything she could do, and they're like, "Nah, we're good. Let's just."
I mean, she does kind of heal too, because she healed the humans, which I think is
healed all of us. Also,
I think a healing power from somebody would be good to have on hand in the MCU.
Listen, playing so much Marvel Rivals lately, the healer is the most important person on the team.
I don't play, so
I lose every single time. Nobody will heal anybody, and it's terrible. Somebody go jump on as Jeff the Shark.
I was Jeff the Land Shark for a little bit, and I kept dying. So
I am always Namor. Almost.
I am so curious to see what Jeff the Land Shark's going to look like live action. I'm so excited for it.
He's probably going to look exactly like how he looks in most that he.
I don't care.
Jeff the Land Shark should have been in What If. Now I'm thinking about it.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree. I also think that a really cool thing. I guess they did have the rights because we just talked about Brad Winterbomb. I think a really cool thing to do would be do the Deadpool core, but that's where Gwenpool was in What If and Jeff the Land Shark. What if Gwenpool was in the Deadpool core? Would have been a really cool one.
Mother
with you about the healers.
Mother of God.
Yes. People play as healers.
How do we think Jeff's origin's going to be in the MCU?
Adorable.
Well, you see, when Namor likes a shark very much, you get the land shark.
Let's see. Claude said, "You know who would have been fun to see just as a nod? Good old Jack Russell. Man, like, yeah, Elsa Bloodstone. That would have been really cool too."
I was about to say the people that made her are really passionate about her, and they're really pushing her. And I mean, I think she's cool. She's like Marvel Elsa, literally. Yeah. But I
also think the MCU's take on a werewolf is the best I've seen in movies in a while.
I do like Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bloodstone, it made me think of it, and I was like, that's kind of like the best Wolfman rendition I've seen.
Going back to special presentations, that was the best thing for it. It didn't have to be a movie. It didn't have to be a TV show. You can do whatever you want with those characters. But I think Werewolf by Night did what it was supposed to do, and I don't know why we don't get more of that.
That's what
we still got Marvel Rivals going on in the chat. I agree. Cloak and Dagger, anytime they're on my team, we usually win, but I cannot figure out how to play them. I can only play as Namor without dying constantly, so that is where I am stuck forever. I do not change.
I feel that.
This isn't a gaming
I need Luna Snow every time I play.
But this is good ideas for future content, though. It's funny that it went this way. What were we talking about? Oh, Werewolf by Night. I'm so mad they didn't go farther into the special presentation option because it was right there. It worked out so well.
Yeah.
That was incredibly successful.
Well,
And
they've been working on Nova for like what 10 freaking years now.
that's gonna be a
Like, make the
series, though.
presentation.
Yeah, and it's
I
like
thought it was going to be a presentation,
it was. It's a series.
and then they realized, hey, I don't want to do
I
a
believe
presentation because no
I believe
director
they
will do it.
didn't I believe
I
they
think
didn't
it'd be.
change it to a movie. It's not a movie.
I just think it'd be
When
fun
Nova
to
should have
have
just been in Guardians
like
anyways.
a spotlight, even like just one a year of just a random character that they know they're not going to do a lot with, but could have potential to do well in the movies and stuff, and they could bring it over if they really wanted to. But like just spotlighting a new character every year.
And
Just give us some-
I really like the idea of putting it on a holiday or a special season. So like a
Yeah.
spotlight, that's Christmas. I
Mhm.
think the reason Werewolf by Night was so good was because it was a Halloween spotlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And that's why Agatha All Along did so well, was because
Halloween.
it was right on Halloween.
Well, and I mean, we still watch the Christmas special with Mantis.
Oh
so-
my gosh, I
It's the
forgot
best
there was
thing
a
of
whole
the Christmas special.
I forgot there was a Christmas special. It's
Yeah,
not
and
Christmas.
we
I
learned-
forgot it this year. Oh shoot.
You
And
can still watch it,
and
it's fine.
It even
Just
has
in
a
the
lot
next
of
24
like
hours.
good mythos for the movies too. Like that's what established that she was, spoiler alert, Peter Quill's sister.
So it was something that you felt like you should have watched. Like everybody was talking about it on the internet, so you're like, oh, maybe I actually need to
Which
watch
I
this.
was
It's
saying
important.
that for years anyway. I was like, yeah, it's his sister.
I just need
I mean, it was
them
heavily
to
teased,
consult
right?
with Ewing for Richard Rider's character. I agree with that. This needs to be done well because we all got screwed out of Nova not being in Guardians of the Galaxy. We got the whole ass Nova Corps and we didn't get Nova. What is that?
I agree. And as somebody who is not as familiar with the character of Nova,
It's a good character.
one of my only Novas are like Baby Nova, which is part of the Champions. So my Nova is not even anybody else's Nova. So I am not the one to be speaking on this. But I would be interested in it. I think it's different, and I think that we need more of that type of character. And I think that special presentation should have been out like 5 years ago.
I want a young Cable.
That's because young Cable's hot.
Look, Cable,
The only reason.
no matter the age, like after 18 and up, he's always has a daddy-esque to him. When he's young, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to adopt him. But then something happens.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh no,
Anthony,
I actually preferred the young Cable. Like in the newest run of X-Men, he had a big like a year-long run of him with Krakoa.
You just
Well-
want more Krakoa.
And it was good. I
Doesn't-
liked it.
doesn't the first edition of the new Cable run come out this Wednesday?
That's a great question,
I
Megan.
think so, but it's not young Cable.
That's fair. Anthony says, in the lore for Marvel Rivals, Jeff is the strongest character.
As he should be.
It makes me laugh so hard because he's just this little shark.
And he also heals. More people play as Jeff. Please.
Well, what's interesting is I got to interview the creator of Jeff the Land Shark. She didn't know where this was going. Kelly Thompson had no idea. And then now he's everywhere. And she's just like, I can't believe it. And it's like,
He's like
I mean,
Marvel.
come on, he's a little shark that runs around.
Listen,
Of course he's
He's
gonna
listen,
be
pretty
you
much
could've-
Marvel Grogu. Like,
yeah, it's kind of like he's the new baby Groot. Like, you are never
Mhm.
gonna fail with this. Give us an adorable animal that also can kick some ass. You will win every
Yeah.
time.
Exactly. I mean, look at just the history of it. First, it was Baby Groot. Then it was Baby Yoda, and then Grogu, and then
Yeah.
it's Baby Jeff.
Baby Jeff the Land
well, I
Shark.
think once he's in the MCU and more people know who he is,
Oh,
I think he
God.
will explode.
Yeah, that's gonna.
He's gonna
that
get-
The
will
casual
Oh.
be-
audience has no idea.
So everyone suck it up now because like once that happens, once we see something of what is it? Is it a show or a movie or something about him? Shit, I don't know.
All I
I don't-
remember is saying
I
that he
don't
was
even
coming to
know.
the MCU.
Yeah.
I don't think
That's right.
said
It was
what
just
he
it was
gonna
just
be in.
MCU.
Yeah, just that he's coming, and I
Why is he
cannot
coming?
fathom how they would come into the MCU.
But like, yeah, like
Like, how do they explain him?
Look, I'm like
I'm
super
telling you,
excited.
it's Namor's love child.
If anything, they should have brought him in the last Guardians movie, and it was like, oh, I was experimenting with like pets too.
He gets, since we're on the topic of Howard the Duck-esque projects, I think that he would have been a good fit in that. And I really liked High Evolutionary and all of the. We also got Baby Rocket in that movie. But yeah, I like the little babies.
I do too. I always feel like I'm gonna go adopt a cat after I see those movies. Well, Anthony says he ate the Infinity Gauntlet, Dark Cold, Pym particles, the Crimson Gem of Kitterak when he escaped the Collector, which is scary to think about. And then Claude said, "You want Jeff to explode?"
Jeff is indestructible for the purposes of this video. It's fine.
No animals were harmed in the making or thinking of this video.
No, I think that they should have brought Jeff. They should have. That would be the one thing they saved.
But anyways, What If? I do think that he should have been in What If. I don't know. I think the best way to put him in there would have been Gwenpool in the Deadpool Corps.
Look, there's a few things that should have been in What If. Like, I would have liked to see more X-Men, and I really would have liked to see what if the Maximoff children grew up together, like raised in the same house. That's something I
I would have
liked
liked to see,
Yes.
at the very least, Wanda not sidelined for the entirety of What If. I don't think that they realized how big she was going to be, which is dumb because she's been popular ever since her post-credit scene.
Well, just think of how powerful Billy would be in that episode if he was being taught by the Scarlet Witch too.
Yeah, what if Billy grew up with his mom? And
Yeah.
I think, or what if Agatha was good and taught Wanda and taught Billy? Like, what if we got that?
I don't know. I just think that would have been
I
a
don't
good
know.
What If episode.
I do like the Agatha that we did get in What If. I'll be grateful for that.
True. What if we got what if the Maximoffs got together for the holidays? Like they all had Thanksgiving at Magneto's house. Like that would have been great.
Yeah. I mean, I love it when they reference the family connections and stuff in comic books and stuff. Like in the Wanda comic book, it's like a guest of the week of who she knows.
Yeah, that's true. Like with
And-
Daredevil, all of it.
Yeah, and I love it.
And her family members come and go through
Yeah.
it. It's like,
and mentioning things about it. Like I think when this last one, Billy was in Wanda's comic book, and they talked a lot about family dynamics and
we
Yeah.
have it. It's
other
sitting
his
on the table
uncle
right
is
there.
doing and stuff like that.
It was nice. And it was also nice to see in that one Wanda connect with Tommy on one-on-one too. So I love that.
Yes.
That was probably my favorite one.
Yo, Tommy's whole character is being sidelined. That is his character arc. That is his
know.
fate.
Should he
It's
change
so
his name
sad.
from Speed to Sideline?
Sideline. But no,
Anthony
I mean, I
says-
would never complain about getting more Wanda or Billy.
Ever. Anthony says, if we get Jeff, we need Gwenpool with them. Agree.
I agree.
Claude says, ending What If to bring us what, Jeff? I like that. I like that.
Also, hi, Stephen and Shelby.
Hi,
I mean,
Stephen.
they did have
Shelby.
that Jeff comic book that came out of like little antics that he went through.
There's also, speaking of Marvel Unlimited, go back like 20 minutes, people. Maybe 30 at this point. But I
Possibly.
think that there's also a lot of Marvel Unlimited original comics that are Jeff and like all of the Marvel pets. Like there's
Yes,
Marvel
there are.
Pets or something.
Yeah.
That's like Lucky the pizza dog, Bats, the Doctor Strange's dog, and
Yeah.
all of that good stuff. And I like that. That's a good spot for him. But if we're going to have him in anything like important, yes, please put him with Gwenpool.
I'm
I
still
agree.
surprised we didn't see Gwenpool as just a background character in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Because she's getting her own movie.
I don't know about that, but
yeah.
I feel like
I don't
she's
know
the
if I would
most.
personally want that, but
Not right now, no, because
somebody would.
who has rights to her?
I don't know, but also at the same time, we need to use the Young Avengers before they're like Grandpa Avengers. So let's hold off on the younger ones for now.
They're regular age Avengers at this point. Like, we all have to just get it together. They're going to be called the Champions. I know that's not confirmed, but I'm confirming it myself. There's no way they're not going to be that.
It just gives them more wiggle room.
Well, that and with putting Kamala in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It gives them.
It's going to be mostly Young Avengers, but it's going to be the Champions team.
Yeah, it's a way so they can sneak in Champions characters to the team and explain it away. And if they're called the Champions, they don't have to do that awkward name change later on, even if they did film when they were teenagers.
Yeah,
because eventually they're going to grow up, and my hope would be that they would just keep following them in the MCU, and so they're going to have to be called Avengers or something at some point. So,
but also the internet being the awful place that it is, just constantly calling them the baby Avengers instead of Young Avengers would be. I'm okay with changing the name.
I really think it would be cool and fresh for the MCU and the comic world if they just kept going and we saw how they grew up and what they became.
But I mostly just need more Billy, more Kate, more Cassie, and more America. I mean, those four are the only four that I really care about.
We'll never see her again, but I actually liked the character Love too. I thought that she'd be cool.
Love.
Thor's daughter.
Ew, I hate that.
Played by Chris Hemsworth's actual daughter.
God, I hate that movie so much.
I like the things that we got to see in live action. I just do not like. I think that should have been two separate movies. We should have had a dark gore movie and a Jane Foster centered movie.
Yeah.
I think having them both in the same movie slash Taika Waititi kind of going into party mode instead of directing mode. I think that's what tore that apart. But I'm forever grateful that Natalie Portman got to be Lady Thor.
Yeah, I mean, the Mighty Thor was my favorite Thor run.
So. I think Gore was done way dirty in that movie, both in how he looked and his storyline. We never actually, for being the God Butcher, he didn't butcher a lot of gods. But poor Christian Bale.
That's stupid movie. So this season of What If, what would you rate the entire season out of 10? Also, people in the chat, what would you rate it out of a 10 too?
Yes.
Something that has nothing to do with Jeff.
Oh shoot.
There's so much Jeff in the comments.
Rating it with comparative to the other seasons. No, I'm gonna give it 5.5.
Fair.
Oof. I think as much as I personally liked this season, almost every episode, I think the concept of What If got too misconstrued and they lost their vision. I mean, we had the white one back, but I am going to give it a 6 because I think that they dropped the ball on what If should and could have been. I don't think that it was a super strong finale to what they were attempting to build in season 1. Like, I think that if we got all 3 seasons like back to back, you would have had Whiplash and you would have known exactly where those seasons ended. And like, I don't know. I think each season was just way too different, but also, I don't know. It's confusing to talk about because I feel like writing it, they were also confused. They were like,
"What was your point?"
So out of 10,
I was saying that's why I gave it. I said 6.
Oh, you said 6.
Yeah,
okay.
I said 6.
I was waiting for your number.
I said that first.
Usually,
I'm giving it a 6.
Usually you end it with a number. So I think we're both.
Oh no, we went the number first. But that's why I give it a 6. Because, as I was saying, as much as I personally enjoyed it, I enjoyed it for what it was, and I just enjoyed the little 20-minute episodes. But if we're talking in the grand scheme of What If should be, I do not think that it delivered.
Okay.
Like, I love the characters. I love what I did get, but it wasn't, for the most part, it was not What If.
What about you, Megan?
I'm going to agree with my little friend Anthony here and say a 5 because I think they could have done better and they didn't believe in themselves. But let me say, Edelin, you Real one, you haven't even watched it yet, and you've been hanging out with us all night. You're amazing.
You're gonna be spoiled so much.
Oh, you'll be just fine,
Yeah.
my friend.
You
Honestly, I
must be like
haven't.
me and not mind spoilers.
She doesn't. She doesn't. Honestly, I haven't finished it, and I'm not really rushing to do so since it's been pretty weak overall. You know what? That's totally fair. It was pretty weak in my opinion
But
too.
Birdie.
Birdie made up like 4 of the 5 points I gave it. So there's that. We did
As she
we
should.
did see some very interesting stuff. Steven says, I'll just put it here so everyone can see it. I agree on 5.5 out of 10. Also agree that Gore the God Butcher Bale got done dirty. Should have been a spectacle. Takai got too much free reign, in my opinion. That's why we like you, Steven, because you're like super smart.
But also, I just didn't like his character design for the movie. Like,
Gore?
he shouldn't be super humanoid. He should be creepy and like tentacle face and all that fun stuff. Like, I don't know. Maybe it would have looked too much like the Star Wars people with the 2 tentacles back. But you know what? I don't care. I wanted him to be scary, and he wasn't.
What do they care? They own both.
That's fair.
Well, I think
because Star Wars is going through it right now, and we want to separate. Both fandoms are pretty toxic right now, but the Star Wars one is way worse. So I don't need any of that coming over here.
Well, I think for the MCU and for a movie that was just such a rotten banana peel of a movie for me, that was the best we were going to get. So that's okay. If he looked better in the movie as Gore, I would have been more pissed that he was in that movie. So we have been talking for an hour about this, and we've talked about everything. What if, Jeff, everything. And I love that.
Eating talking animals.
It's true. We even talked about eating the animals. So like it's been crazy. So before we wrap up, why don't you tell all our listeners where they can find you two?
They can find us at Bleeding Rainbow Comics on Facebook and YouTube and all of the other social media things, but those aren't as important to us anywhere but Twitter, which I still refuse to call by its current name. But yeah, Facebook, YouTube, those are our main 2. If you're on those 2, maybe Instagram for something different, then you are getting all of the goods.
Okay. And you can find me anywhere, Vigilante Vibes, or you could just make it easy and go to vigilantevibes.com to find everything there. If you want to know our reviews, our reactions to What If, you can check our YouTube channels, Bleeding Rainbow Comics and Vigilante Vibes podcast, and see each video of each review we have for each episode of What If Season 3. But you did just get all of our ratings for it, so what is the point? So thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us for this season of What If. Keep up with both of us. We probably will be collaborating again pretty soon because I love these 2 so much.
Yes, we love you too. I love it.
Oh, look at us. Who would have thought? So thank you for watching, and we will see you guys in the group or wherever you're really watching us from.
Yeah.
So bye, guys.